Hey, what's up guys, it's Unleash here today. We are back with another video on Sonic X Shadow Generations. And with the release of the game being oh so close now, I thought it would be interesting to talk about something which I've noticed has happened with this game over the past week or so. And that is the question of, has Sega spoiled too much of Shadow Generations already? In pretty much every single trailer that's been released so far, something brand new has always been shown off. And while that isn't necessarily a bad thing, it could be a bit of an issue depending on how much content is actually in Shadow Generations, because we know Sonic X Shadow Generations is not even a $60 game, it's a $50 game. And Shadow Generations is exactly going to be as long as Frontiers either, so the question is, has Shadow Generations shown too much already? Well, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's discuss the topic at hand. So before we begin to discuss anything just yet, I think it would be wise to shut down any people saying that, oh, Unleash, you didn't have to watch the trailers for this game, you could just watch no trailers at all and then not be spoiled. Boom, that's your fault. And my response to that is, what a completely and utterly stupid thing to say. Why on earth would I avoid all trailers for a Sonic game, mind you, especially a Sonic game, and just buy it based off the fact that, oh, it's a Sonic game, I'll just buy it anyways? Because how the hell am I gonna know if this game is good or not if I don't watch the trailers or anything? The whole purpose of marketing a game with trailers and what is to show people that, yes, look at it, the game is going to be good, don't worry, and here's what's in the game. There is no possible way that I can just sit here and form an opinion about this game if I don't watch the trailers, gameplay, or anything. Just the same way that people get annoyed at me for critiquing the game when looking at the trailers, they would also have to keep the same energy for me saying, for example, oh, the game is good, even though I've actually seen any of the trailers yet, because exactly, it's the whole point of marketing, to show if the game's going to be good or not. So the fact that there are people out there who actually said to me in a previous video or something like that, oh, Unleash, you spoiled the game for yourself by watching the trailers. No, don't say such stupid things ever again, man. That is such a stupid rebuttal, man. Honestly. Anyways, having that out of the way now, we can actually talk about the real discussion here. Has the game shown too much? Now, the reason I even bring up this discussion in the first place is because I've seen some of the leaks. Now, I've not seen any major ones, I'm not going to show them here either, but I have heard leaks about the length and the content in the game, regarding the amount of bosses and the amount of levels in the game. And upon hearing that, and then just looking at the game's trailers or whatever, it looks like to me, they've already shown basically all of the game in the trailers and left nothing as a surprise. And to show you exactly what I mean, let's go through all the trailers and see what they've actually shown so far. So in the reveal trailer, by the way, we're not talking about Sonic Generations here, only Shadow Generations for obvious reasons. They showed off only the first stage of the game and also the Biolizard fight, a sneak peek. And yeah, as the announcement of the game, yeah, this is perfectly fine, no issues with it right here. Only the first stage of the game too, and the first boss fight, no issues. Then the next trailer, which was the Summer Game Fest trailer, we got to see a small cutscene of the time meter in Shadow Generations. We saw Shadow with the wings at the end of Space Colony Arc. We saw the reveal of Kingdom Valley and also Rail Canyon. And again, so far up until this point, I think they've shown a decent amount of content for the game. Yeah, this is totally fine here. Especially when this trailer was shown off at a big event, the Summer Game Fest, yeah. They were going to show a decent amount to actually hype people up for the game, especially the casuals, so yeah, good amount of content here. Then a couple days later after this trailer dropped, we got to see the full Biolizard fight and also the full stage of Space Colony Arc Act 1 from the demos and also official gameplay revealed. And again, this is totally fine. The Biolizard and the Space Colony Arc Act 1 stage are pretty much the first boss fight and stage of the game, so once again, this is fine. I have zero issues with the amount of content showcased so far. Then the next trailer we got was the Generations of Stages trailer release on the official Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel, where we got comparisons of Space Colony Arc, Kingdom Valley, and Rail Canyon with their original counterparts, and once again, this is perfectly fine. They're not showing off anything brand new here, only going in depth with the things they've already shown. Perfect. And then next up we have the Doom Powers trailer, which is where I personally think that they're starting to overdo it with how much content they're showing for this game. In this trailer, we get to see every single Doom Power they can actually unlock in the game. They then reveal both Chaos Island and Sunset Heights for this game, and then also, finally, the big reveal, Metal Overlord. Oh yeah, they also show off a bit more Radical Highway gameplay, being its own zone this time. But here is where I start to have an issue with the amount of content that's being shown off for this game. I'll start off with the things that I think are okay to show in this trailer, which are Metal Overlord and kind of with the Doom Powers. Metal Overlord being shown here I think is fine because at this point in time, we'd only seen Biolizard and that was the only boss we've seen, so teasing Metal Overlord in this trailer I think was perfectly fine. It was made for a very hype moment. I like that. And then the Doom powers, even though it means that there isn't really going to be any surprise with what you can look in the game anymore because we've seen basically everything, there isn't a massive amount of powers in this game that you can use anyways, so them showing off all 4 of them or whatever, 4 or 5, is alright, because if they only showed off 2 or 3, there would barely be any variety in the powers there, and you'd think that, oh, maybe this is, you know, not that good with the powers, but then again, they could just show 2 or 3 and then say later on that there's actually going to be like 5 or something like that, which should get you more hype for the game, so I don't know, I guess it's kind of a take it or leave it situation here. But when it comes to showing off Chaos Island and Sunset Heights for this game, that's where my issues start to arise, because we've now seen 6 zones in Shadow Generations just from the trailers. And if this was a normal length game, I wouldn't really have an issue with this, but because we know it's going to be a shorter game and, you know, 6 zones out of, I don't know, maybe like 9 or something, probably less than that, seeing 6 of them already is a bit too much in my personal opinion. I think they maybe could have shown off maybe one of Chaos Island or Sunset Heights, but not both. I think showing both of them here is a bit too much. I think just showing off Sunset Heights rather than both it and Chaos Island here would have been the smarter way to go, because Chaos Island isn't really related to Shadow or anything at all, so having that be shown in a trailer doesn't really make sense in the first place, so that could have been just a surprise really. At the very least with Sunset Heights, if they had to show off a brand new zone in this trailer, Sunset Heights at least kinda relates to Shadow because of Infinite and that whole thing enforces, so Sunset Heights being here, yeah, makes sense. But Chaos Island is one, not related to Shadow at all, but it is from Frontiers, so I guess the casuals will maybe recognize it because Frontiers sold well, I don't know, but it could have also just been a surprise in the game. Then once again, a couple of days after this trailer dropped, we got to see the full fight of Metal Overlord in Kingdom Valley Act 1 from once again, official gameplay reveals, and also the playable Gamescom demo. And this is once again where I have more issues with the amount of stuff being shown off here. With the Metal Overlord fight, I don't think showing off the whole fight before the game release was a good idea. I think having it be teased in the trailer, in the Doom spoiler trailer, was fine, but showing off the whole fight, I think that was going a bit too far. Showing off the full biolist of the fight I think was fine because it will at least give you something to expect with the boss fights to see if it's actually going to be good or not, but showing off the Metal Overlord fight in its entirety kind of ruins a bit of what you'd actually expect to see in the fight, because part of the whole part of boss fights being cool or whatever in Sonic games specifically is just how they actually look. And now that we've seen the whole boss fight, when we actually play the game, it's not going to feel as cool as it could have been if it was actually all left a surprise. Because we've already seen all the cool cinematics and everything like that, so now it's not really that cool of a surprise anymore, which is a shame. Instead of just showing off the whole fight here in its entirety, I think just showing snippets of it in trailers would have been the better way to go. But with them showing off the entirety of Kingdom Valley Act 1, I thought this is actually fine, because boss fights and actual levels are different, because boss fights are more about the spectacle and levels are more about the actual gameplay and level design. So seeing the whole stage of Kingdom Valley got to show us that, yeah, level design in this game is pretty good, and also the stage length, and yeah, we got to see the new Doom surf as well, so I thought that was fine. Then the next trailer we got was the story trailer a couple of weeks ago, and once again in this trailer I think they're showing off way too much in terms of the gameplay. Not in terms of the story though, I will say, I'll give them credit right here. They've been very good with the way they're showing off the story for this game, because they basically show nothing, which I think is good. They showed off a bit of it in this story trailer with Maria and Gerald, and then obviously the big teaser at the end with Shadow meeting Maria in real life. Why did I say in real life? I meant face to face, in person. Yeah, not real. Okay, whatever. But yeah, keeping the story a secret here I think is going to be very exciting to play the game, because I don't even know what to expect now. I'm going to be basically going in blind, so yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see. But in terms of the gameplay elements in this game, they've shown off Mephiles, they showed off more Sunset Heights and Chaos Island, pretty much some of the final cutscenes of the game with the final boss in this trailer for some reason, and then they showed off some more of Radical Highway. Now obviously you know my issues here, so even though it made for a really cool trailer reaction and everything like that, having Mephiles in this trailer was a mistake in my opinion. I mean, pretty much everybody kind of guessed that, yeah, Mephiles is going to be in this game, and I think that really should have just been left as a surprise when we actually play the game, not in a random trailer. Because, like, can you imagine if we hadn't seen Mephiles before in this trailer and yet just saw him randomly in the game when we were playing it for the first time? Imagine the shock and the excitement we would have had on our faces then, but that moment is now lost because we've just seen this trailer and they've showed him off here. Again, a bit of a loss. But probably the dumbest thing here is showing off some of the final cutscenes in the game with pretty much the final boss, because why would you do that? Like, why? I mean, yeah, it made for a cool looking shot in the trailer, but we weren't losing much if we didn't have that in the trailer at all. You should have just left that out. That was a really stupid move in my opinion. This game is as short as it is. You don't need to be showing off the final boss in the trailer. Like, come on man, that is really, really stupid. But one thing that would have worked perfectly here is showing off the Metal Overlord part. They showed it off here, like a little snippet of it, but this would have worked better if they had actually shown off the whole fight beforehand, so this kind of loses its touch a bit, but again, that's already lost now, so yeah. And then on the same day, we got to see the Feel the Rush trailer from PlayStation for the game, where we saw some of the cutscenes from the quote-unquote Sonic vs Shadow boss fight in the game. Which, once again, this should have been a secret. Why are they showing this here? Just the same thing with Mephiles, we can kind of guess that there's going to be a Sonic boss fight in this game, but they once again ruined the surprise by showing it off in this trailer, which, again, I really don't like that. They're pretty much leaving nothing as a surprise anymore because they're showing it off all in the trailers, which I think is actually a bad thing. And then the final thing that's been shown off up until this point is the movie Shadow DLC trailer, whatever, at the State of Play the same day as this trailer and then the story trailer. And because this is actually a DLC, not actually part of the main game, yeah, this is fine. Once again, no issues with this one. And yeah, that is pretty much everything they've shown off so far. And I really hope they actually don't show off anything more for this game because they've shown off basically the whole game at this point. So don't show off anything more, just leave it now. That's it. We're done. Now, the big reason I think that showing off too much in the trailer is actually a bad thing is it kind of gets people's hopes up and expectations way too high. Because usually companies don't show off their entire game in the trailers, and especially Sonic Team. We barely see anything in the trailers for Sonic games nowadays, and now with this game, we kind of have that same mindset, but no, in reality they're showing off basically the whole game here, so our expectations are going to be a bit high for what's actually in the game now. Like, we're going to expect so many more stages and boss fights in this game that just aren't actually in the game, which is kind of a problem. Now, once again, you could say, oh, that's your fault for getting expectations so high, but can you really blame the people when they're showing off so much in the trailers, and once again, you don't show off the whole game in the trailers, only a snippet and enough to actually market the game and say that, yep, this is good, you should buy this product. The biggest reason I'm even kind of complaining about this entire thing is because of Sonic Frontiers. The most high part of your playthrough with Sonic Frontiers, and something that you're probably never ever going to forget, is the Titan boss fights. And part of the reason that those boss fights were so unforgettable and so hype was because they didn't show any of them off before the game released. The most we got to see was Super Sonic's transformation and then him going to fly towards Giganto, but that was it. Apart from that, we saw nothing of those Super Sonic boss fights. No cinematics or anything, none of the music, nothing. We only saw Giganto as well, and that was it. All we heard of the other Titans, like Wyvern for example, was words from reviews, and that is it. And that is exactly how it should have been for this game as well. Can you imagine if they showed off the entirety of the Titan boss fights before the game released for Frontiers, and then when you played the game, they would not feel as hype at all because you would have seen the Titan boss fights already beforehand, and then they wouldn't feel as hype or surprising, because part of the reason the Titan boss fights in Frontiers in that first playthrough were so memorable to me is because I wasn't expecting it at all. Nobody was. And unfortunately, we can't have that same amount of surprise or whatever for the Sonic X Shadow Generations reveals, like Mephiles and stuff like that. And I do think that is a big loss because that is big surprises from the game kind of taken away because we've seen it already. And I do think that is a bit of a shame. Anyways, that about does it for today's video then. So I wanted to discuss this topic because I feel like, yeah, they have shown off too much for this game, and maybe they can take notes for the future games and hopefully not show off too much for those trailers, because I know things which people who are watching this video right now don't know at all for this game, and that's because I've seen and heard part of these leaks for this game, and obviously not everybody has actually seen those leaks, which is fine. I'm not blaming you at all for those things, but because I've actually seen the leaks, I can look at these trailers and say that, yeah, they've shown off a bit too much. So for those people who don't actually think I make sense right now, maybe when the game releases, they'll come back and think that, okay, I can kind of see what Unleashed is actually talking about now because I've actually played the game and seen it for myself. So if you disagree with me right now, then maybe hold your judgment right now and wait till you actually play the game, because then you'll see what I kind of meant. But let me know what you guys think of this topic. Even after all my discussing and talking about things here, do you disagree with what I've been saying here, or do you think, nah, Unleashed, you're kind of right? Let me know down below. Love to see what you guys have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, especially that last one. Don't forget to become Unleashed by hitting that join button down below. And remember, it's not necessary. And I'll see you all next time. Peace!